Hello guys, Mixed Variations here, and today I am doing a time-lapse art video. So this was requested to me by one of my favorite YouTubers named Starfire X Uchiha. She's really awesome, and she was one of the first people to subscribe to me, so I decided I'd give her a little shout out by doing this art video for her. So if you don't already know this character I'm drawing, he is Itachi from the Naruto anime and manga series. And he's a really good character in my opinion, and I wanted to draw him. And what was fun about this video, I used a lot of different supplies. I used a Sakura Jelly Roll, Copic markers, Prismacolor colored pencils, a simple Bic permanent marker, and Sakura Pigma outlining pens, which you see in use right here. I started out with a pencil sketch for this drawing, and I decided I wanted to give it my own touch instead of just having him in this position, which I guess you could say is a little boring, and I added crows coming out of his body. If you don't already know, in the anime, crows come out of his body, so I wanted to draw that, like, in effect, because he kind of uses it as a little illusion to get away from things. For the Copic markers, I thought it was really fun when I took a big chance by using a yellow Copic marker to create the shading on his skin. This was a big jump for me because I've never done this before, but it actually turned out really well. I used 3 Copic markers for his skin, and if you want to know the number/letters of them, I'll give them to you right here. They are YR000, Y11, and E000. The two that end in 000 are obviously the skin tones I used, and the Y11 was a pale yellow. Also with the skin, I went over with the Prismacolor colored pencil just to give it more of a texture to it, and that turned out really well as well. And for the fingernails, that's where I used the Bic permanent marker, and it was just their dark blue, and I went over it with Prismacolor colored pencil, a purple shade. And for his eyes, I used a little Sakura Jelly Roll to give it the shine because I had already colored it in with Prismacolor colored pencils. The fun thing about the Jelly Rolls from the Sakura brand is they can go over almost anything you put on paper, regardless of it. You just need to blot it into an area and spread it out with the pen. I really like these gel pens, and you should really go ahead and buy yourself some if you are interested in using gel pens. I mean, they're pretty much all-purpose. One time I was really bored and I actually just drew on my skin with them and they still turned out really good. It was really fun. They are clear and they show the amount of ink that's in them, so that's good when you know the ink is running low. So, what was really fun was to create feathers around the crows. That's what you see. They're the little blobs that have been outlined. And because crows obviously have feathers, and that turned out really well too. This drawing actually took a lot of big jumps I haven't usually done before. I kind of stepped out of my comfort zone because I also used a brown Prismacolor colored pencil in the red area of his cloak. Not the little clouds you see, the little red blobs, but the areas where it was the inside of his coat and the sleeves, and yeah, I used the brown just to give it more depth and more shading, and that turned out very nicely, if I do say so myself. So if you might see, I did double-side a few of my Prismacolor colored pencils for that reason because the lead had shattered and I was really disappointed with that, but found out using a different area of the pencil where there are longer fragments of lead. They last for longer, and if one area runs low, you can just use the other area without taking the time to sharpen it. I didn't use a Prismacolor colored pencil for part of the cloak or the feathers. It was really funny. I used a Prismacolor ebony colored pencil. Those are similar to softcore colored pencils, but they have hard lead, so I guess they're not soft cored, but they do show up similar to a soft core, and I thought that was really interesting. For the birds you see right now, I used a praying fine liner marker. I just used it and I made very large amounts of lines to give it a sheer dark black color, not like a grayish black where you can see like little white spots. It's not what I was aiming for. I was aiming to make it entirely black for the cloak as well, and that actually turned out really well. The cloak itself took me about 5 hours to do, but it was definitely worth the patience and time I put into creating it. I only used two colors though for the cloak. I used a black and the Prismacolor ebony, and I just layered black, ebony, black, ebony, black. And that is pretty good too. The fun thing about the black is that it can blend the ebony if you still see little lines while using it, because most Prismacolor softcores have wax in them and they just give the blending ability, and it's really good. I do recommend you, if you want to get better at Prismacolor drawings, to layer. If you're starting with art and you really want to do really well with using any colored pencil, I recommend Prismacolors. Don't get them at an art store though, they're really expensive there, so I do recommend just using Amazon, preferably because the art store, the 48 set, costs about, I don't know, $60, and on Amazon it's half that price. Amazon really does give you good buys when buying Prismacolor pencils. So this turned out really well for me, and I really liked the drawing itself, how the shading was, and how the crows came out of his body, and especially the hair. The hair was like really good because I used a purple on it to give it that lighter dark color than the cloak itself. So as you see, the drawing is coming to an end, and finally, this is how it turned out. And here's a little picture right here. So thank you so much for watching, and please click that subscribe button and make sure to check out my other art videos.